Welcome to Combat Sports in Africa. Our guest is Lewis Mataya. Lewis, how are you doing?
I'm well, thanks, Gamami. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's a cold day here, but it's good to see you after our technical difficulties with all these apps.
The universe didn't want us here, but we did it. We're here, universe. No,
That's it did cross my mind. I'm like, man, should we just do this some other time? But somehow you fixed the problem and made it happen. Now, this is our second interview. Of course, I interviewed you about 6 months ago after you won the 2022 IMMAF African Lightweight Championship. And I just wanted to follow up to see how things were going. I have a set of questions. And the first one I'd like to ask you, Lewis, if I may, is, 2022 is coming to an end, right? Only a couple of weeks, I believe. A lot's happened. In terms of your combat sports activities, how would you describe the year?
Honestly, Gamami, it has been one of the worst years of my life. Combat sports wise, the only good thing that came out of it was participating and winning the African Championships. Everything else, it's been awful. That's the truth.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And since the African Championships in April, I haven't had any fight at all. I've had 3 fights lined up, all getting cancelled. One was even cancelled 3 days before.
Wow. Can you tell us where were these fights? Were they in South Africa? Were they in Zimbabwe? Where?
So one was supposed to be in Zambia. That was in August. And that got cancelled because of a really awfully terrible situation that happened. I'm free to talk about it. I'll tell you when you ask me. You haven't asked me, and you have to ask me, Kamami. And the other 2 were supposed to be in Mauritius, and they all got cancelled again. Yeah.
Wow. Do you want to talk about, I'm not trying to stir up any problems here, but did you want to talk about why they were canceled?
Yeah, sure. So the one in the August one, I was on my way to Zambia. I got an invitation from Coach Ben to compete there. And first of all, I had injuries. My ankle was best. I couldn't kick. I could barely move, and yet I wanted to fight. But it's okay. I'm a mixed martial artist. I was going to handle that with just, what I had, which was my boxing. So I was going to go into the fight with that and only jiu-jitsu. Then at the airport at OR Tambo, they informed me that I had a fraudulent visa, and I had no idea. The visa was not legit. I mean, some guys there in South Africa scammed me. They said they were working at Home Affairs. They were agents. And then they did the visa for me. And that happened. I was detained there at the airport and then moved to the police station and even went to prison, Gamami, for the whole week. I was locked up there. I had to, and they had to make me pay a fine. That's how they released me, of 10,000 rands, lawyers' fees, and a whole bunch of other fees. Altogether comes up to around 35,000 that I had to pay up in order for me to be released.
My goodness, man. I'm terribly sorry to hear that. This is a horrible scenario to be in. I can only imagine. Wow.
That's true. It happened. And there in prison, there were a lot of my brothers who were in there for the same reason. My Zimbabwean brothers, Malawian brothers, Zambian brothers, who were scammed by people and they end up in prison because you don't know. You have no idea because you apply for it where you're supposed to apply for visas. You apply and then you pay the fee, and next thing you know, you're at the airport or somewhere getting arrested, being told that you've got a fraudulent document. I mean, think about it. If I know that I've got a fake visa, why would I go to a place like the airport where security is really tight? Why would I be stupid enough to do that? And
Right.
yeah, that's what happened. And so the end result was me getting banned from South Africa for 5 years, away from my training partners, away from my coach and everything. So now I'm back here, stuck in Zim.
My goodness, I did see, I think it was a story or a reel, just to put it in context. I did see something along those lines, but I was unaware that you'd gone through all of that as far as being detained or arrested and also being banned from going to the country to South Africa. So I'm very sorry to hear that, obviously. And, here I am with my second question that I was going to ask you because I had drafted some questions for this interview. My question, I don't even know if I can ask this, but I guess I will.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you're being very honest and upfront, and I appreciate that, of course. What's the highlight of the year been for you? I mean, you're describing a very challenging year, of course, but what's the highlight of this year?
So when you said that, a couple of things flashed into my mind. We can look back at the beginning of the year. That was the African Championships. That was big. I did add to my value with the African Championships, winning that. That was amazing. At the same time, it felt like I was being tested. I'm sure you know all those things we talked about, all the challenges, everything that happened. And I persevered. So that was the highlight, and it was positive. Then, highlights, they can be positive or extremely negative. And that was the next part of the story. It was the thingy with home affairs and the airport and visas. That was it. Really negative, really, really negative. But still, that was it. And now I'm back home in Zim, and that's another big part of it. This is positive. I've been away from Zim for 4.5 years. I'm back here now. I'm introducing jiu-jitsu. I'm teaching jiu-jitsu at schools, orphanages, community centers, and friends' houses. I'm really spreading jiu-jitsu and MMA here in Zimbabwe. So that is a positive. It's big because it's more than just for me. It's for the whole country. So the whole nation. So I'm spreading jiu-jitsu, and that's positive, and I'm loving that.
That's a very positive pivot, if I could use that term, considering the scenario you've described. Obviously, of course, spreading the sport via jiu-jitsu and martial arts in general, I think is a very honorable thing, and it's part of this podcast. It's hearing about these stories. But also, I think this shines some light on the realities of combat sports athletes in certain parts of the world, particularly in Africa, as it pertains to, trying to travel and compete abroad, regionally, and so on. That access to travel is a challenge for sure, and that's unfortunate. I'm curious to know, now that you've relocated, as you said, you've gone back home to Zimbabwe. How is training going, and what are you focusing on in terms of furthering yourself as a mixed martial artist? What are you focusing on? And if you can give us an idea of your training routine, considering now that you're back home.
Well, first of all, as you can see by these, not doing a lot of training, looking a bit chubby. I'm not going to show you my belly. It looks, jeez.
You should see mine, man. It's
I admit I have put on a little bit of weight. I mean, a tiny bit more than I would like to have. The goal is to get to where Paddy the Betty Pimblett is, I want my face to look like a giant watermelon, to be all, round.
Right. Are you 200 pounds? You're not 200 pounds, are you?
210.
Wow. Mm. Okay.
Next up, I'm fighting Ngannou. That's where I'm going. Going up, Gamami.
You're almost there, man. You're what? What is it, 15, 20 pounds away, no? No, he fights at he's 275 or so when he's in the octagon. He's massive. He's over 265, I would imagine. I think they say he fights heavier than 265. But no, seriously, you're not considering going all the way up, are you?
No, my frame cannot handle that. I mean, I'm making fun of myself. I've gained about 2 kilos.
2 kilos?
Just 2 kgs.
Okay. You're not 210.
Gotcha.
You did. You actually did, because it's you actually got me there for a second. But so speak to us. So you put on weight, only 2 kgs. But in terms of how are you focusing on, if I can ask, furthering your game? Because obviously, you've come a long way, as you mentioned from our last interview. You were continuously improving your approach. You're fighting at a great gym in Cape Town, I believe it was, right? And like, your mindset, you spoke about your mindset and all that, and clearly it shows, that's still there. It's still strong, and
that will never change. That will never change. Now, I understand at this point that there's not much I can do to go back and train in Cape Town. At the same time, there is what I can do here, which is, first of all, survive, as in teach people, train people, get them to understand martial arts. In doing so, I'm training partners. I'm very good at that. I'm good at fighting, like maybe a bit less than I am at teaching. As in, I'm a way better teacher than I am a fighter.
Wow.
People don't know that, but that's what I do. The people that I train with in Cape Town, especially striking, I teach them. I teach them everything they know from the beginning. And then I, train with them, use them as training partners. That's what I'm doing here. I'm developing training partners, teaching people. And that's the first part. At the same time, it's like I'm multitasking. I'm raising money, as in establishing setups where I can train people and raise money to try and go back to court, pay lawyers, and prove my innocence, and prove that this was not my fault. It did happen. Yes, it did happen with my passport, but it was not my intention to hurt someone. I was a victim of these scammers. So that's what I'm doing. I'm training partners, and I'm raising money to clear my name. They need about 35,000 rands, the lawyers, to get the process done, which someone it's nothing, but to me it's everything. I mean, it's gonna take me months to raise that money and feed myself while I'm at it, and pay rent, food. Yeah, so that's my focus: raise money, train people.
Now, in terms of the community, are you in the capital, Harare?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, what's the community telling you in terms of regarding your work as far as spreading the sport, and training people in your situation? Are you getting any support?
A lot, a lot. As we speak now, when you look around the gym, is it okay if I turn the camera?
Sure, of course, yeah.
I'm not going to show you where I'm sitting. You won't like it. So you see this place, it's a jiu-jitsu gym. So the guy is very passionate about jiu-jitsu. His name is Tim Albon. He started this charity work called Simuka BJJ on Instagram. You can check it out. He's very supportive. He accommodated me since I got here, and he's helping me build a client base and give me a start, a kickstart. So he's very supportive. His friend, I'm training his friends, and they are the ones, that I make money from. Yeah. So they are all very supportive. It's amazing. It's a miracle. And you know what? He messaged me after I won the African Championships, because that's when I got a lot of following. My name was out there in the papers, and so he messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm in Zim. If you ever want to train jiu-jitsu, I'm here, and we can also work on this charity work where we train people for free and spread jiu-jitsu in Zimbabwe." So I've got a lot of support here. I need more though from a lot of people, the whole nation, because we cannot deny that. We cannot deny that I have a dream, and my dream will benefit not only me but the whole nation. That I know. I'm aware of that.
Can you give us the name of the gym again? Sorry, and the handle on Instagram?
Oh, yeah, so it's Simuka BJJ.
Okay, I'm gonna have to Google it, not Google it, but I'm gonna have to look it up and follow, obviously, and I'll tag them on this interview. It's great to hear that you do have that local support. Now, you're currently ranked number 7 in the world according to the IMMAF Senior Male Lightweight rankings.
7.
Number 7.
I wasn't aware.
Yeah. The rankings. Sorry?
I was not aware.
Yeah, I was just looking at the rankings because they're on their website, and you're currently ranked 7 in the world. This is on the IMMAF Senior Males Lightweight rankings. This is as of November 2022, so that's last month. And you're the only African in the top 10 for that division. Actually, let me go check that one more time just to...
Wow.
Yeah, as of November...
What do you know? I'm bad at.
Yeah, you're ranked. You're ranked number 7 here on their list. And I mean that's incredible because the list has 93. I believe it has 93 competitors in that weight division from all over the world. Of course. Question for you. And again, I drafted these questions before this interview, but I think it's still fair to ask this. Maybe it's not fair. I don't know. You tell me, will we be seeing you at the 2020 at the World Championships that are going down this February 2023 in Serbia? Are there any chances of seeing you compete there?
I would love to be there, Kamami. I would love to be there. And to be honest, if I'm there, I'll kill every last one of those competitors. I heard at the World Championships you have 5 fights?
Pardon me?
I heard at the World Championships you have 5 fights to win gold.
Right.
If I was there, I would destroy all of them. I would make sure of that. But I cannot make it. Why? I don't have the funding for that. 1. 2, I've not been training. I've been stuck here in Zim, doing absolutely nothing. So for those 2 reasons, if you cannot afford it, you cannot go. If you cannot train for it, you cannot go. So they're lucky. They're lucky I'm not there. They can have their circus there without me. It's okay.
Right. No, I totally understand what you're saying. And, I think it's, who knows what could happen between now and then, right? And who knows? I don't know. But
here's what I wish could happen. I wish the fairy godmother would come flying across the room and wave a magic wand and say, "Hey, my son, I'm here to take you to the World Championship so you can kill all those." That's what I wish to happen.
No, I hear you, my friend, and I think for those competitors, and I think for just with respect to the level of competition, I mean, you won it for the continent of Africa in that division, and it would be a damn shame not to see you compete at the Worlds, you know. And I'm, you know, who knows? Again, I'm not trying to spin it like it's some Walt Disney movie or whatever, as you were just describing there with some intervention of so I mean, we laugh about it, but it's unfortunate and sad, but you are ranked number 7 in the world, which is an incredible ranking. As I mentioned, you're the only African on that on the top 10, in the top 10. There are others, of course, from the continent of Africa, but you as of November 2022, you're up there, man. You're in the top 10, which is a very significant achievement for you. And I want to go back to talk about what you mentioned earlier about how you're trying to spread the sport. You know, you're seeing this as something bigger than you and your career, and you're trying to spread and establish the sport in your country. What is the amateur MMA situation? Educate us on this. What is the amateur MMA situation in Zimbabwe? From your perspective, what's the potential and what's the situation on the ground?
So, as you know, I was the only Zimbabwean to ever compete in an IMMAF event. Why is that? It's because there wasn't an association until 2021, end of 2021. No association, no athletes. All the athletes had to travel to, Temba Gorimbo had to travel to South Africa to train. Sylvester Jipfumbu, South Africa. Other guys, they leave Zimbabwe because there is nothing here in terms of MMA. So at this point, what is happening is we're traveling to all the provinces. Myself, the president, the secretary general, we're traveling to all the provinces and conducting seminars so people can know that we now have MMA in Zimbabwe. And here in Harare, that's where we're all based. We train a lot. We're taking guys from karate, guys from judo, guys from taekwondo, bringing them here, teaching them mixed martial arts. Hopefully, by next year, mid or end of next year, we'll have people that at least know how to kick, punch, grapple, and maybe do a few competitions to start MMA here. And when you look at their websites, the Zimbabwe MMA websites and everything, they're using my pictures, they're using me to spread the sport in Zimbabwe. And think how good that is. I mean, hey, we are mixed martial arts Zimbabwe. We have an athlete. His name is Mataya. He won the African Championships. Here are his pictures. He's ranked number 7 in the whole world. One of the best fighters. I'm not bragging, but it's a marketing strategy to market the association, get sponsors.
Right.
Now think how much better that would be when we're saying, oh, look, it's Luis Mataya. He's our athlete. He's a world champion. He's ranked number 1 in the world. Or he's a professional fighter. He's a UFC champion. He's a 1FC champion. He's a PFL champion. That's where I'm saying the sport in Zimbabwe would benefit a lot from something like that. It's not about me. I do it because I love it. It will make me a bit of money, but it's not about me. It's not about me.
Right, but at the same time, you're spreading the sport, you're developing the sport, promoting it, and enhancing all these other athletes' potential in the sport. Can you give us an idea how young are these competitors that you're training, or give us the age range of some of these competitors? Is it just male? Is it both male, female? And what do you think we can expect to hear in the next couple of years from this sort of initiative on your part?
From the last interview, we talked about this. I'm a perfectionist. Either don't do something or I do it really well. With these guys, I'm creating monsters. I'm taking guys from the age of 16 because they are the ones who have time here. They've finished their Form 4 school, which is grade 12 or 11 or something. Okay. They don't have much to do. They don't have much to do. So they're always at home and they need something, to occupy them. So I'm taking those guys, getting them out of the streets and teaching those monsters how to throw a punch and kick and promise them a future. So you can imagine how hungry they are. I mean, some of them, they scare me. They're even hungrier than I am.
Wow. Well, I mean...
Sorry?
Go ahead, please. Continue.
I get lucky because for me, first of all, I'm experienced. Second, I do like to improve my intelligence all the time. That's me trying to avoid saying I'm very smart. So instead, I'll say I do like to improve my intelligence. So if anyone is listening, or to those who are listening, I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm saying I like to get smarter. Okay, so that's always going to be my advantage in any fight, and I'll train my mind, I'll train my body to make that my advantage all the time. I was saying these guys, they are very hungry and physically insanely strong.
Wow!
When you're teaching them jiu-jitsu first day, you can feel, man, this guy is strong. This guy is crazy strong. Why? Because they're builders. They're carrying wheelbarrows and lifting rocks and bricks and digging the ground with these heavy tools. So they're just very strong. And I'm taking those guys and training them martial arts.
That's outstanding. That is outstanding. Curious to know how many people, if you can give us a number, if you can guesstimate as to how many people would you say you are training directly or indirectly?
So at this point, at the community center, a couple guys came. There was about 10, 15 people. And here where I'm staying at Tim's house, Tim, the owner of Simuka BJJ, the founder of Simuka BJJ, there were these two builders and one is going to start training soon. And there's Tyler, the other kid is a cyclist. Yes. So from those people, I'm not sure how many, but I just go around handing out business cards and inviting people who are working around the house here because the house is being renovated. There are a lot of builders and they're all young. They're from the age of 16 to 24 there. That's the age group. And they're just getting out of school and start, working in the construction industry, or some are doing nothing out there. So it's that age.
Right. Very interesting to see what happens, in the next couple of years as the sport develops in your country, hopefully, and you get more support at all levels. Curious to know, in terms of professional mixed martial art, who's your current favorite fighter and why? I'm sure you're still scanning, all these different promotions and you're seeing all sorts of, but who's your favorite fighter and why?
First of all, Gamami, I've told you before, I don't worship heroes.
Right. I know.
the only hero I know is I'm staring at him right now. Not you, Gamami. It's a little. There it is.
Right,
there it is. You got it. But there are outstanding fighters that have something special about them. Years back, let's rewind 4 years back, Conor McGregor was still a thing. And we all knew that Conor, when it comes to being sharp and counter-striking, is the man. So those days, I was really in love with Conor. I developed my counter-striking. And I can say now, get me in the ring, Gamami, and I'll show you. Get me in the ring, and I'll show you. So back then, I used to look up to Conor, and I developed that. I still do. And then he lost to Khabib because of his grappling. So Khabib became the thing for years, and he still is. I liked Khabib's grappling. So I worked on my grappling a lot. And you saw at the African Championships, I went up against everyone, took them down, beat them up, except Ken. Ken is a better wrestler than me, but I out-grappled him despite him being a better wrestler. So you can imagine what that means. I worked on my grappling, inspired by Khabib. And afterwards came Israel Adesanya with fight IQ, a really high fight IQ and evasiveness. I worked on that, and I still do. Then Peter Yan came along, a really insanely good guard, like really tight guard. I took that from him. And you could see at the African Championships, I barely got hit at the African Championships, barely. The only injury I got was from me kicking someone, like kicking someone with my foot, and it got hurt, and I kept kicking with it. Just there, that's how I got hurt, a little bit. So you see, I take from these fighters,
Right.
and you know who the man at the moment? The man who beat Israel Adesanya. That's the art which I'm studying. Dynamite. No. Nuclear weaponry in my hands. I want to be able to kill someone with just one hand, like Alex Pereira. That's what I'm working on next. So we can bet right now, Gamami, my next fight, I'm going to destroy someone. I'm going to hit him once and put him to sleep. I can bet. That I can bet.
That is a very impressive list of individuals that you're describing, and you're highlighting their characteristics that make them incredible fighters, from Conor to Khabib, and so on, and now to Pereira, of course. That's an incredible list. And I'm curious to know, considering everything, are you still committed to competing in amateur MMA, or would you entertain, if the opportunity were to present itself, would you entertain jumping over to professional mixed martial arts?
Gamami, I'm building a brand. So whatever adds to my brand the most is what I'll take. As long as I'm competing, as long as I'm fighting and building my brand, I'll do that. I know participating, and most importantly, winning the World Championships will really boost my brand. I've seen it with the African Championships. So when that opportunity, I like that. When that opportunity comes, I'll take it, and my name will be out there, and my name will be used for much better and bigger things, and be seen by bigger promotions, which is what I'm after as a fighter. That's one. Two, if I get a call from a professional organization and they give me a good deal, that will add to my brand, and then I have a good manager who can market me a lot better. I'll take that. Because I'm ready for whatever. I mean, I know I can rise up to the occasion and take over. Sound like Conor McGregor. No, and conquer. That's better. Yes.
Man, you know what? I think anyone who's seen you fight, and I've said this before at the championship, at the Africa Championship, anyone who's seen you fight sees that passion, that energy, and your story is well known. You know, IMMAF's written a lot of great articles about you, and so on. And I just hope that all the best for your career. You know, in terms of if it's amateur or pro, I think you got a lot to offer, man. And I got to ask you, if you could pick between fighting professionally in the UFC or one championship, which one would it be and why? And I know you mentioned you're focused on your brand and whoever calls sort of thing. But if you had the opportunity to pick, or if you were debating this in your mind, UFC or one championship, which one would it be?
I've had that debate in my mind a lot, Gamami. And one I heard, I've no proof of what I'm saying here. I'm saying what I've heard. One pays a lot to fighters. It pays better than the UFC. At the same time, UFC allows you to build a better brand. Is your name, when you make it to the top, your name will be famous across the world. So you may not be getting paid more by Dana White, but sponsors will be after you. The nations will know you. And at this point, I cannot pick. If I get paid more, as in ONE FC, I can build my own brand, use that money to market myself. If I go to the UFC, automatically, you've seen how well Drickus and Cameron Simon are doing. That's automatic there. So it'll depend on where the call comes from. I know the benefits of both organizations.
For sure, and it's I think your answer is solid, and in the sense that you're focused on building your brand, and you're aware of what either brand has to offer in terms of opportunities and so on, and pay. And I do hope we see you one day fighting professionally, either
you gotta
UFC.
put my name out there. You gotta put my name out there, Gamami.
Bro, I'm trying. It's funny. The last interview we did, I really enjoy speaking with you. I know your story and so on, and I've seen you compete online, of course, at the African Championship. So I got a lot of respect for you and your resilience and your passion for the sport and your story, etc. And I took that interview and I tagged some reporters, or maybe one reporter here called Ariel Hawani, and I tag, and I'm just saying, like, I'm just some guy who interviews fighters, but I'm hoping that some of these other reporters on this side of the world, in North America or Europe, follow up and interview you some more, man, because I think you have a lot to offer to the sport, and this is why I wanted to follow up.
I agree.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Normally, I know you cut these little clips and you put them on YouTube or Instagram.
Right.
You can put this one out. My name is Luis Mataya. I did not introduce myself. My name is Luis Mataya. I am the African champion. And like you said, I'm ranked number 7 in the whole world. Like, number 7. I've got this insane story. I'm making a video. I'll let it out soon, very soon. I've got an insane story, a story that's enough to make a superstar. I mean, think it, Gamami. Think about it. With this recent one that happened, it's awful. I'll even talk about my prison experience. I mean, don't put that out there. Please just delete this part. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, no one wants to hear this. I saw a man shoving something up his butthole to into the prison, to sneak it into the prison. So that's something I don't want to talk about. I've got this story. I've got the skills. I've got the mindset. I've got the heart. I've got the story to tell to the world. And I know once it's told, the world will love it and promotions will love it. And that's, what more do people want? What more do they want? And yet, I'm rotting here in Zimbabwe. I only competed once at the African Championships this year. I truly believe promoters and managers, at the moment, I do not have a manager. I truly believe they should, if they're really passionate about the sport and developing superstars, I'm the man. I believe that. Not only do I believe it, but I work every day to try and get people to notice it.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yes.
I'm going to challenge you to redo that again, what you just did, this pitch. And this time, like, let's not talk about I'm not going to tell you what to talk about. Who the hell am I to say what to talk about? But let's forget about.
I won't talk about the thing. I would.
The prison thing. I mean, it's your story, but we probably don't need to hear the detail. And start backwards. Start by saying what you're working on now, and then finish with, I won at the African Championship. I'm the best on the continent. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you could give us that pitch, only if you're comfortable, bro. I'm not trying to direct you or anything like that. But in 5,
go ahead, Kamami.
3, 2.
My name is Louis Mataya. I'm a Zimbabwean, born, raised in Zimbabwe. I grew up in the rural areas of Zim, where I used to work in the fields, farms, and I've developed insane resilience. I mean, I'm one of the toughest people on the planet. And I happen to be a mixed martial artist, a fighter, the champion in Africa, the best in Africa, ranked number 7 in the whole world. I have the story. I have the skills. I have the passion. I have the heart to fight in MMA and be the best in the world. And to any promoter out there, any potential managers, the reporters, I'm the real deal. I'm the best in Africa. And I have everything it takes to be a superstar in the sports of mixed martial arts.
That was awesome, my friend. I'm going to edit that clip and I'll push it out to promoters out here and to combat sports reporters, and we'll see what happens. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan of combat sports. Obviously,
I mean, you are an angel. That's what you are. I can see your background there. You're definitely an angel.
I don't even thank you. I don't even know people like I don't even know about this background. I don't know why I use it. I like it. It's feels like I'm traveling through time or something,
like an actual angel. It resonates with your soul, your beautiful soul, Gamami.
Thank you very much, brother. I have one last question for you. I know 2022 has been a tumultuous and an extremely challenging year, as you've told us. 2023 is around the corner. What are you envisioning for yourself in the new year, combat sports wise and beyond?
What are diamonds formed under? What's the saying? What's the saying?
What's the saying?
Yeah, something goes like iron sharpens iron, diamonds are polished or formed under pressure, those kind of things. That's what 2022 was for me, Gamami. I've become very stubborn, like very stubborn, that I cannot be told no. When you say no, to me, it sounds like yes. When you say maybe, it's a definitely. When you say yes, it's that high pitch, when one of you appears, an angel, it goes, oh, that's what it means when someone says yes. So 2022, I'm taking no prisoners in the cage, killing them all, putting them all to sleep. And in terms of opportunities, I'm going to go hunting for opportunities. I'm not going to wait for anything to be given to me anymore. So I'm going after what I want in 2022. I'll take it. When I get it, I'll kill everyone who stands in my way. You know what I mean, in the cage.
Right, of course. And you're speaking 2023, right? Not 2022.
Got it.
I think we knew what you meant. I just started to pick on that. So obviously 2023, you had, as you mentioned, big goals as far as your combat sports and so on.
Yes.
And obviously, I do wish you all the best in the new year, and I appreciate this second interview you've given us here at the.
Can we do a third?
Sorry?
Can we do a third?
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm always here to interview and talk. But moreover, I just want to say, I do wish you all the best in the new year. And you keep being you, man. You're very persistent, driven, and you've got that porcupine fighting spirit. So, thank you thank you very much for your time, my friend. And we'll be in touch. All the best.
Thank you, Gamami.